right, we're gonna get started here, man. We're gonna open this up with this crazy ass story. I came poison baby food. Me having 2 children of my own, as a parent, I can speak. Let me speak from a male's perspective. But I would just think that this is not only a male's perspective. I would think I'm speaking from a parent's perspective, right? I remember when my baby was born, my children were born. First of all, I was very overprotective and I was very nitpicky, right? I was very nitpicky on like what brand of baby food my babies ate. I actually wanted my children to breastfeed, but you know, my baby mom's wasn't having it. I guess she didn't want to mess up the satchels. She didn't want to mess up her satchels, so she didn't want to breastfeed. Plus, she smoked prior to the pregnancy, so she didn't want to breastfeed. So I didn't get to do that with my children. There was plenty of breast milk left over though, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But anyway, so we would, we went ahead and did the Gerber, the Gerber baby formula, and I let my kids drink formula all the way up to like close to like 24 months, right? Because of the DHA and all that type of stuff that's good for the brain development that you usually get from breastfeeding. That's the advantage breastfed babies have over bottle-fed babies, right? They get those nutrients, and all the studying I was doing was showing that it was good to get those nutrients for brain development for at least a minimum of 24 months, right? So that's what I try to do. I kept my babies on that formula until they just couldn't take it no more. And then obviously sooner or later you have to transition. But my point being is, as a father, I don't know what the hell I would have done if it would have came out that the baby formula or the baby food that I was feeding my children was poison. So now you have a situation where there are several baby products that are full of arsenic, fucking arsenic, and lead. And now there's nobody reporting on this story, right? I gave it a few days. I said, okay, let me see if I can find some more information. All the media is doing this dumbass Trump impeachment bullshit, but all the shit that we need to know about, all the shit that is important to us as a community, as Americans, as fucking civilized individuals, nobody seems to want to report. They want to report on all the bullshit that doesn't matter, right? Trump is out of office, point blank. He's out of office. We know good and damn well Republicans are not going to impeach Trump. We know good and damn well Joe Biden don't want to get Trump impeached, because that's going to set a precedent of meaning that even when somebody's out of office, you can go after them. And we all know that that is not something that a president of the United States wants, because most of the time we are involved in all type of criminal activity, mainly war crimes. And if we can start going after presidents when they're out of office, then we can start talking about George W. Bush and Barack Obama, right? So I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think Biden is really pushing for this damn impeachment to go through, meaning he doesn't want to set a precedent. And we know, so all this time we wasting coverage on shit like somebody who's not in office anymore, not the president anymore. And then stories like this just go under the radar, right? No mainstream news that I know is talking about it. I haven't seen it on no mainstream outlets, maybe in the 3rd, 4th, 5th page. But let's go ahead and get into the story, because it's reported that 95% of tested baby foods in the USA contain toxic metals. 95%. Damn near all of the baby food. 95% round up to 100, right? 5 or more round the fuck up. Damn near 100% of baby food contains some type of poison. It says toxic metals damaging your baby's brain development are likely in the baby food you are feeding your infant, according to a new investigation that was just published Thursday, a week ago. It tests 168 baby foods from major manufacturers in the U.S., found 95% contain lead, 73% contain arsenic, and 75% contain cadmium, whatever the hell that is. I don't even know what. I'm gonna have to look that up. And 32% contain mercury. And 1/4, meaning 25% of those baby foods contain all of the fucking poisons, all of the above. You would think that this is huge news to me. I mean, I don't know about y'all or who have been paying attention. How many of y'all heard about this? This is big news to me. This should be one of the biggest stories going on right now, that 95% of the U.S. babies' food production contains poison. People are feeding their kids Like as a parent, you just love, you nurture, you try to do whatever is best for your child, especially your newborn, right? It's very fragile, delicate situation. I mean, you go out spend extra money because I'm gonna get the best, right? I remember I used to spend extra money, and I might go and get some great value shit for myself, or I might get some off brand. But when it came to the babies, I'm getting the name brand shit. So well, we gonna get the name brand. No, don't get that damn Similac I grew up on. You see what it did to me. We ain't gonna get a baby the shit that I grew up on. I'm gonna do something better for my kids. That's I drank Similac. We damn sure not giving the kids no Similac. I'm a Similac baby. I mean, I might have turned out okay, but we don't need too many more of me running around this motherfucker. I can tell you that. I got my own issues. So I was like, listen, man, as a black male, as a father, I said, well, especially when you just have that sense of pride and like, I'm going to do better than what I had for my children. So anyway, you go out and you want to buy the best. Right? So you buy the name brand, everything, the best everything. I'm researching, I'm looking at this and looking at these different formulas and these different cereals, and okay, this is the best. This is the one we got in our area. This is the best. This is the one we got access to. It don't matter if WIC gonna pay for it. Don't matter who. I'll go buy it. I remember once my kids WIC run out, or WIC didn't cover certain things, I'm going out to buy everything. I got it. Don't worry about it, right? Because I think after a certain amount, I can't remember, was it 3 or 4 months, or after 6 months, that's it. For kids in the hood, after 6 months, they don't try to give your baby no more formula shit. They expect you to start putting your baby on like solid foods. So all the brain nutrients and all the shit that your baby need when you're black, right? When you go to the pediatrician, they'll tell black people something different from white people and their kids, right? I had to do this out of research. I found out that the DHA and the different things that are in baby formula is good for brain development, and you should keep your child on that for as long as possible, up to about 24 months if you can, because they have an advantage as far as brain development. But when you are black and you go to pediatricians, or you go to doctor and you go to health departments and all that type of shit, or DSS, whatever you call it. I remember my baby moms coming home and trying to argue with me. Well, listen, man, this is what they're gonna tell you because they don't give a damn about you or our black baby, right? They're gonna tell you at 4 months, start feeding them. The quicker you can start feeding him, the quicker he or she starts taking regular food, go ahead and feed it to him. When we know the goddamn regular food is poison for us. So the longer I could keep my baby off of eating this poison ass regular food, to me would have been the best, was my mindset. And I turned out to be right. Whoa. Well, she got teeth now, or he got teeth now. And if you could feed them, if they start taking human food, just, adult food, just start feeding them, chew it up, grind it up, whatever. And you can start feeding them that, right? Because what they trying to say is basically the state don't want to be responsible paying for your damn child. So if you get something like WIC or something like that, I'm telling you, if you got a newborn baby, or if you wind up having one and you get in a situation where you're getting some type of government assistance, they're going to try to win your baby off of shit like formula and all that as quick as possible, right? Those vouchers and all that shit going to stop coming as quick as possible. They don't give a damn about your black ass. So, and baby formula it's about $23 a can. And that can only lasts a couple days once your baby gets, 8, 9, 10 months. I trust a year old. I know because I was spending damn near $20. I was spending damn near $120 on baby formula just to keep my baby, on the formula for as long as they took it. I was averaging anywhere between $100 to $120 on formula. That ain't including no other shit. Diapers, wipes out. Just formula, right, was about $120. It cost more to feed my baby just baby formula than it did for me to eat for a week as a grown-ass human being. You understand what I'm telling you? So what I'm saying is, we do all these things as parents for our children because we expect that we're trying to do the best or what's right. And of course you want to keep your infant, your baby safe, right? That's number one priority. Well, it's kind of hard to keep your infant or your baby safe when you're giving them what you think is good and right, it's poisoning them. And this just goes back to tell you how I know that they're poisoning us when I keep telling you the food and the water ain't right. I got so many young brothers and sisters and friends and family that's got cancer, right? They're in the 30s, 32 years old with cancer, 35, 34 years old, cancer. Nobody knows where it's coming from. They don't smoke. They drink minimally. They've been in pretty good health. Doctor can't explain it. Go to doctor. This is cancer that usually people get when they're 75. I don't know how you got, right? That's what they tell these people. They're getting cut on and chemo and all this type of, man, this is. So if you know they're going to poison the babies, can imagine what they're doing to your ass and my ass, right? This is the problem with capitalism, right? This is the problem with nobody caring about nobody else and, to each his own. Everybody's out for themselves. I gotta make it. This is the problem with Donald Trump when he was in office, lax in regulation. This is what you get. This is a byproduct of not having enough regulation. Now, for all those people who are Trump supporters, all those Republicans who think that we should deregulate every fucking thing, we don't need no regulation. The market will take care of itself. Just listen, man. Nobody have time for the market to take care of. How many babies gonna die before the market adjusts and take care of itself, right? If we didn't have inspectors, if we didn't have regulation and people to come and inspect this shit, how would we know that the 95% of this is how we got here, is because obviously we don't have enough inspectors and enough regulation to where 95% of the baby food in this country, which is supposed to be the richest country on earth, is poison. The goddamn baby food is poison. These people are cold-blooded. You understand what I'm telling you? It don't give a damn about you. And as you can see, that 95% of the baby food is poison. They don't give a damn about your kids. So let's continue to read, because this was amazing to me. That right now, if you're at home and you feeding your baby some baby food, there's a good chance you're poisoning your child. Now, if this ain't gonna be enough to get people riled up and out here protesting, doing what the fuck we need to do, this is about as worse as to me is about as bad. You're gonna poison my baby, man. So before my child even hits adolescence, they're already at a huge disadvantage. If it's not killing them, they're gonna be lagging behind in development. It says 1 in 5 baby foods tested had over 10 times the 1 ppb limit of lead endorsed by public health advocates, although experts agree that no level of lead is safe. Okay, they say no level of lead is safe. It says that out of the 5 baby foods that were tested had over 10 times the 1 ppb. That means 1 parts per billion, right? The limit is 1 parts per billion is the limit of lead that is allowable. This shit had 10 times that. And it goes further on to say, we're going to allow the 1 parts per billion, but really no lead, because we know lead is one of the worst things for the fucking human body, right? Especially when it comes to mental retardation, right? It's when it comes to brain, to your brain health. It's just hard for me to believe that this shit is not a major story. It says the results mimic a previous study by the Baby Food and Drug Administration that found 1 or more of the same metals in 33 out of 39 types of baby foods that were tested. The foods with the highest risk of neurotoxic harm were rice-based products, sweet potatoes, and juice fruits. The analysis found, even in the trace amounts found in food, these contaminants can alter the developing brain and erode the child's IQ. The impacts add up with each meal or snack a baby eats, the report said. So the more you feed your baby, the more this shit is an accumulative effect. It's just going to keep growing in your baby, which can erode. And then you wonder why the country is the way it is. You wonder why we are literally turning into one of the dumbest countries on the face of the earth. This is a fact, right? In education, we dropped precipitously. Right? We are literally turning into one of the dumbest countries. I mean, you can tell because some people still support Donald Trump and think he was a great president. And his IQ, they measured his IQ is low as fuck. And he's smarter than like over half of the country. Because he's got half of the country following behind his dumbass. The tests were commissioned by Healthy Babies Bright Futures, which calls itself an alliance of scientists, nonprofit organizations, and donors trying to reduce exposure to neurotoxic chemicals during the first months of life, because those are the most precious. If you're gonna poison the fucking infants, this is what's wrong with capitalism. This is what's wrong when you chasing the buck, when it's all about the bottom line is profit. You see, all those who say capitalism is great and just let the markets handle it and we don't need regulation. This is what happens when companies or anyone, I've owned business before, I've owned a couple, but this is what happens when you put profit before quality. This is what happens when you just don't give a damn. Like, hey, we're gonna cut as many costs. Let me tell you what they was doing. This is what they were doing as I had dug deeper, because it's not going to be in this story. But as I had dug deeper in this, what they were doing was, this is how sick these people are. To get around the regulation that we do have for the baby foods and stuff like that, right, that FDA has. This is how they were getting around it. Instead of testing the baby food, the finished product, they would test each individual product as they add it to the baby food. And then let's say this product had 1 parts per billion. This product had 1 parts per billion. This part of the baby food had 1 parts per billion. They would test it all individually, knowing that when they put it all together to give you the finished product, then it was going to have 10 parts per billion, which was 10 times the fucking amount. You see what I'm saying? This is how how sick these people are. What they were doing was testing each individual additive to the baby food. They were testing it individually so they can meet the requirements, knowing that if you got 10 different agents that you're about to make this baby food or baby formula with, if you got 10 different agents and each agent has 1 part per billion of, let's say, lead or arsenic, and then you decide to put all those together to actually make the product, and then you give the finished product, but you don't test the finished product. You just test each individual ingredient. Then they were meeting the standards. But of course, when the product finished, the shit was 10 times the amount because different ingredients that they were adding into to make the finished product were contaminated. You understand? So this is what we're doing in America now. Now they're poisoning babies, and everybody's just like, okay, my baby's being poisoned. So if you have a child, if you plan on having a child, if you have any nieces and nephews, God, for God's sake, if you have anybody that you love, right? People have babies every day, all day. You might be getting ready to plan a baby shower. Please put people on game and let them know about this shit. And maybe look into what they can do. I'm not sure what they can do. I'm going to keep my eye on the story and see what can normal people actually do about this shit. Is there somewhere you could go get your baby food tested before you actually start giving it to your baby? I mean, it's 95% of the baby food, so I guess you can just 10 times out of 10 assume that at some point, you know, whatever of these products you're going to be giving your baby is going to be poisoned. See, this shit like this happens under Trump. For all you, again, Trump supporters, when you're just looking at stupid shit that, you know, this is because people have low IQs because they've been, you know, feed poison their whole life. When you just look at basic shit, like you're going to argue over abortion, or you're going to argue, you know, you don't see the big picture. You just like grip onto this one thing. I want Trump to be president because I'm a racist. I want Trump to be president because look at the stock market's doing good. I want Trump to be president just because they don't want Trump to be president. When you have these dumbass superficial reasons of why you want something to happen, not saying that, oh, Trump is deregulating every fucking thing. He's deregulating all the industries because, of course, the Republican Party and Donald Trump don't believe in regulations. And if you deregulate, when you don't have regulations, your babies get poisoned. Now, do you get it? Do you see now? Maybe this would be a wake-up call for dumbasses. This is why we need regulation. This is why we have something called a Food and Drug Administration, right? This is why companies got to be held accountable and meet certain standards, and those who can't meet the standards fail, and those who can prosper. But without regulators, without people to actually look in on these people were not, this is what they did when they was regulating themselves, because this is what they were able to do for all this time, was regulate themselves, right? Well, you know, they'll do the right thing because it's about profits and they want to make profits. So the company is not going to do anything. Just trust the company because they're not going to do anything to hurt their profits. We're wrong, right? Because we know that companies are all about short-term gain. They're about short-term gain. So in the short term, if they could kill all the goddamn babies, they gonna do it and make billions. And then in the long term, they have to recall the food and say, oh, okay, oops, our bad. We killed 3 million kids. Those kids are dead and gone. We've got trillions of fucking dollars off of them. And now we're recalling it. Okay, now you got us. We're gonna do right. But they done made so much goddamn money, they got so rich that it doesn't matter at that point. The mission has been completed. So if you think companies are gonna regulate themselves, you're a goddamn fool, because the company's bottom line is going to be profit by any means necessary. So when the company was able to regulate themselves, what did these companies do? They tested each part of the baby food to make up the whole, right? They tested each ingredient individually so they can say, oh, we're in the limits. So when I read this story, you know, I wonder how long this has been going on. And then I think about my children, because I got a son, right, who's fairly young. He's only 6. So just a few years ago, he was also on these products. So now I'm starting to sit here and wonder, as I read this story, I wonder how long this shit has been going on. How long have they been getting away with that shit? It says prior research has shown that even low levels of arsenic exposure can impact the baby's neurodevelopment. A 2004 study looked at children in Bangladesh who were exposed to arsenic in drinking water, and it found they scored significantly lower on intellectual tests. A meta-analysis of the studies on the topic found that 50% increase in arsenic levels in urine would be associated with 0.4 decrease in the IQ of children between the ages of 5 and 15. So arsenic makes your children dumb, basically. Arsenic is a natural element found in soil, water, and air, with the inorganic form being the most toxic. Inorganic is a chemical term and has nothing to do with the method of farming. Because rice is grown in water, it is especially good for absorbing inorganic arsenic, and according to the Food and Drug Administration, has the highest concentration of any food. That's why I recently stopped eating rice. Right, I bought my last bag of rice last week, and this is one of the reasons I no longer eat rice, and I try to stay away from rice products. So y'all can look into it. I'll probably do a video on it or live stream on. Right, I've changed up a lot of my dietary habits in the past week or so. So in the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna be doing a full detox. And it's just funny because I had started doing this before I came across this story, but after reading this shit, it's made me say, oh yeah, it's time to try to filter these toxins out my body, hopefully, and try to get a reset. Because I love rice, man. I'm Puerto Rican. You understand? I'm Spanish. So, man, we eat rice and beans all the time, right? Rice is like rice with everything, right? There's nothing that rice don't go with to me. I can eat rice for breakfast. I can eat rice for dinner. But then I found out that I was poisoning myself, especially with the starch in the white rice. And then now you see arsenic. It says in Healthy Babies analysis, 4 and 7 rice cereals contain the most toxic form of arsenic in levels higher than the FDA proposed action to a level of 100 parts per billion. Urgent action is needed by major baby food companies and the FDA, the report said. While the FDA is still investigating how to reduce exposure, and some levels of arsenic in rice and juice are lower than a decade ago, exposure is still way too high. Now here we go. It says, what can parents do? This is the part we're going to get to. It says the analysis looked at which baby foods are highest at risk and offered safer alternatives. Puff rice snacks and cereals. It says rice cereal is the top source of arsenic in a baby's diet because it is often used as a first food. Rice puffs and other rice flour snacks also contain high levels. Healthy Babies suggested cereals low in arsenic, such as oatmeal and multi-grain cereals and rice-free packaged snacks. So basically, man, you don't want to get nothing with rice in it. That's what I'm going to suggest to you. Nothing with rice in it. Matter of fact, this is good because I didn't even realize this, but I'm going to be right back. Let me show you what I just bought. So this is what I just went and bought, right? Because this is the only one I could find in the grocery store. So I bought something called white quinoa. Right, and it's a substitute for rice. So it's a healthy grain. Once you cook it, it has similar to the same texture as rice. Instead of using oatmeal and these type of things, you can use this. It's a similar grain to like oatmeal and rice. No longer eating rice, people. This is before I came across this story and read it in detail. So I would just say, if you're not going to put it in your own system and you don't feel comfortable putting it in your own system, you damn sure shouldn't put it in your baby system, and vice versa. If you don't feel comfortable when they tell you not to put some in your baby system, there's a good chance you just want to get rid of it altogether, right? Because if the rice and the baby formulas and the baby food and the baby cereal has arsenic in it, what the fuck is the difference in the rice that we eat? I would assume that is also problematic. Right. So this is a baby's foods analysis, but I would assume that this would be for all rice products. So again, I think it's pronounced quinoa. Right, is a multi-grain. It's a grain, and you can cook it. It takes on the texture similar to rice, and you can use it as a rice substitute. So that's the type of shit that I'm on. Because man, hey, listen, man, we gotta, or even go to the hospital and then get a checkup and find out something's wrong with you, and then the doctors don't know we don't understand. We don't know where it came from. We don't know why you got this disease or why you got this ailment. I don't have time for that. At least not if I can help it. So knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is key, and this is why I'm sharing this information with you. It says the test show that simple actions for 5 foods can help lower your baby's exposure to arsenic, lead, and other toxic metals that will have a harmful and very dangerous effect, a terrible effect on your baby. So these are the 5 actions they say that you can do. It says higher risk foods for heavy metal exposure are puff snacks with rice, teething biscuits and rice rusk, infant rice cereal. These are high risk. Fruit juice and carrots and sweet potatoes. And we know we all love to put the carrots or the sweet potatoes and mix the other veggies with it so the baby can take it. But I would say stay away from this shit because these are high risk for heavy metals like arsenic and lead. Now, safer alternatives alternatives, right? Something that you can use instead of puff snacks is rice-free snacks. Just get shit that's rice-free at the moment, man. And then I'm gonna keep doing these stories and researching, especially tell people in your family, if you got anybody you love that's, about to have a baby, that has children, you got nieces, nephews, your children, right? Please take heed. So any snack that's rice-free is going to be a better alternative for the time being until some information come out about those. But right now, we know we need to stay away from rice. The second thing for teething food, like instead of using teething biscuits and rice rusks, you can use other soothing foods for teething, maybe frozen bananas or chilled cucumbers for your baby instead of using the teething biscuits that has the rice in it. It says for cereal, instead of using the infant rice cereal, you can use other infant cereals like multigrain and oatmeal. And when I told you multigrain, this is great, right? This is a great multigrain, and it's all natural, all organic. And I wouldn't advise anyone to put anything in your child's system that you don't feel comfortable putting in your own. Like I just told you, as a Puerto Rican and a Spanish dude, I'm about to give up rice. Probably one of the hardest foods for me to try to abstain from. But I'm dead serious about it. And I haven't opened yet because I told you I just started reading into this shit, and I'm about to do this lifestyle change. And that's been about a week since I've been looking into it. So now I'm getting all my things, I'm getting all my ingredients, and I'm preparing because next week I'm going on like maybe a 14-day fast, right, where I'm probably going to document it, where I'm not going to eat shit. It's going to be a 14-day like smoothie fast. I'm only going to do smoothies, maybe one smoothie in the morning. That's it to get me through the day. I'm about to do a whole system reset because I've been feeling very sluggish lately, man, and I usually don't feel like that. So I'm thinking it's something in my diet or something I'm putting in my system. It's changed my bowel movement. It's making me feel real lethargic lately, right? I don't have the energy I usually have. I think a lot of it had to do with COVID, right, now that I'm back out and about in the world. But I think a lot of it also had to do, it's probably the goddamn rice, to be honest with you. Now that we find out that the rice has the arsenic and the lead in it, for fruit juice, try to use water. Now, right here, they say use tap water. I wouldn't advise anybody to use tap water. I don't feel comfortable. I don't know where you live at, but I don't feel comfortable advising anybody to use any tap water, just from my experience in my area with tap water. So I would probably say use like natural spring water or some type of purified water. Spring water would probably be the best, right? I think you can go to anywhere and get a gallon of spring water for like 50-60 cents a gallon. You can get the store brand. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but I would just say, yeah, instead of using fruit juices, try to use water. And then it says, instead of using carrots and sweet potatoes for fruits and veggies, a variety of fruits and veggies that don't include carrots and sweet potatoes. Try to stay away from the sweet potatoes and the carrots. Now let me just get ahead because this is going to be important. When it comes to changing out the rice, like the puff rice snacks for free rice snacks, you get 93% less metals by just changing that out. By changing out the teething rice rusk or anything that has to do with rice, for the teething, like it's going to like frozen bananas or chilled cucumbers, you get 91% less metals, right? For the infant rice cereals, if you just use the multigrains, like some of the stuff I just showed you here, you get 84% less metals. And instead of using fruit juice, if you just use like natural, maybe spring water, something like that, I'm going to probably say because here it says tap water, you get 68% less metals. We'll let you know the tap water is fucking contaminated because it's only going to give you 60. If you use tap water, you only get 68% less metal. I would think if you use spring water, it'll be up in the 95 percentile or more. And instead of using carrots and sweet potatoes, if you use other vegetables, you're giving your infant 73% less toxic metals. So there's just some, that's all I'm going to say right now on this, but I thought that it was important. I hope this information may help you or can help somebody you know. I mean, the only thing we can go is by the information we got. If you continue to feed your infants and your toddlers and your babies these products, then I would probably say maybe you probably grew up on some of these products because you got mental problems. So it's a good chance that if you hear this, it'll be like, oh, I ate it, so I'm going to feed my baby it anyway. That's a sign right there to let you know that the shit is real because you got mental problems, right? Your IQ is very low and has been affected. If you after hearing this will still advise anyone or you yourself will feed your kids these products, just shows that this study is real because there's a good chance you were affected by it with the rice cereals and all the stuff you grew up on. That's why you have all these mental problems. Whether you can't keep a relationship, your kids don't like you. They probably don't like you because you've been trying to goddamn kill them, right? Imagine your kid growing up and say, damn, you was at the portal and this man told you about this mama or daddy and you still gave me this shit even after, right? Because ignorance is not knowing. Once you have information to know and you decide not to do nothing with it, that means you got a mental health issue leading into stupidity. Ignorance is not knowing. But once you have been fully informed and you continue to still go against the grain, you're either stupid or you've been on that goddamn baby, you've been on that Gerber Rice cereal. You mentally unstable. You got a mental health problem. Right? So the bottom line here, people, is keep your baby away from the arsenic and the lead. I don't know. I really don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, it was devastating reading it because I'm just thinking back. Yes, of course, when I fed my baby the cereal, all the cereal that we bought for our children had the rice cereal. That's what it was back in the day, right? I'm thinking my baby's growing up and shit, but that's what the doctors recommended. So some shit I studied, but some things you just, take the pediatrician's word for it. You want to do what's best for your baby, so you're going to look toward who you consider to be a professional in the field. Like if your pediatrician, hey, you got these different products, we're not endorsing anything with them, but we will suggest this, suggest that, right? You're going to want to go with your doctor. But a lot of times the doctors don't be knowing shit. People get it twisted. Doctors are there for after you get injured and something happened to you. Most doctors are not nutritionists. Most doctors are in bad health themselves. Even with the information, sometimes the doctor has the information and you go in there and they're all out of, blowed up and high blood pressure and all fucked up themselves. Even with the information, that lets you know that if you see a doctor that's out of shape and is looking like they're doing bad, you might want to get a new doctor because you know that motherfucker is ignorant. I mean, you know that he's stupid. That's not ignorant because it's like this doctor may have a high potential of knowing better, and he still chooses to poison himself. And he's sitting there telling you about obesity and sitting there and telling you about weight and this and that, and he's sitting over there goddamn fat as hell, right? This kills me when I see people go. My aunt was at a doctor like that. He's sitting there telling her all this nutrition advice and shit, and he's sitting there bloated like a goddamn rhino. Big white man, big old white doctor. And it's like, so you stupid because you know better, right? Some of the advice he was giving was sensible advice, but you're not taking it yourself. So that just means your ass probably that doctor probably grew up on rice cereal, right? It's just because you can learn something and be good at one thing. If you study enough, if you memorize shit, don't mean you're intelligent. Right? Doesn't mean you're intelligent. But I would just say again, man, stop feeding your baby the poison.